Hi everyone, and thank you for joining December 2023's Stampin' Class by Mail. I'm Gina Wieselman of MySweetPaper.com, and I've teamed up with Brenda Cardinal, another Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, to offer these monthly classes by mail. Have fun making your cards, and here's Brenda.
Hi everyone, I'm Brenda Cardinal of stampintulip.stampinup.net, and I'm excited to show you how to stamp and assemble your cards using the Year to Celebrate stamp set and elements from the Merry, Bold, and Bright suite found in Stampin' Up's 2023 September to December mini catalog. If you ordered a class kit by mail from either Gina or me, pull out those supplies now. You'll also need a stamp set, ink pads, and a few additional items shown here. If you need any Stampin' Up! Supplies, please use the host code in the video description to qualify for all of our promotions. And be sure to click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Once again, please reach out to Gina or me if you need any stamping supplies, would like to learn more about becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, or about hosting a Stampin' Up! Event. Let's get started. Our first card is the Happy New Year card. If you order a Stampin' Class by Mail kit from either Gina or me, all the parts and pieces were shipped to you as part of your kit. If you didn't purchase a kit and would like to receive all the measurements for these cards, go ahead and follow the link in the video description to sign up for one of our email lists and access our exclusive content. We're going to start by stamping our greeting for the front of our card, and we'll be using Blueberry Bushel ink for that image. And we just want to ink our stamp up here and stamp it right in the center of our basic white piece of cardstock. Okay, and I'll set that aside. And that's all we need the Blueberry Bushel ink for. Next we'll stamp our fireworks. And so let me show you where our fireworks image comes from. So in the Year to Celebrate stamp set, we have our greetings, and then we have several images to create party horns. And our fireworks come from this particular image. So this image is designed to be a detailed image to stamp over this one, so it just gives it a lot of depth and dimension, or added color, whichever you'd like to do. But if we take that image and we stamp it 4 times, we can create some fireworks. So for this we'll be using Blow Me Blue ink. And I'll put a piece of scratch paper underneath my basic white piece. And then I'm just going to start up in this corner. And I'm going to stamp one image. Then I'm going to turn my stamp. And I'll turn it again. And I'll turn it again. Now what I'm trying to do when I stamp each individual image is I'm trying not to have the parts of the image cross on top of each other. All right, so there's one. And then let's create another one. Now we're going to put our designer series paper in a foil on the right side of this cardstock. So we'll put another one kind of about right here. So I'll start by stamping it like this. And we'll do one more. Okay, fireworks. And if you'd like, you could add those same fireworks to your envelope. All right, well that is all of our stamping. So let's go ahead and start putting our card together. We'll bring in our basic white card base. This is actually the thick basic white cardstock. And we'll use our bone folder to put a nice crease on that. And then we have 2 pieces of designer series paper. The longer, narrower one we'll put on the inside of our card. And to do that, I'll use my Stampin' Seal. It's always fun to have a little something on the inside of your card. Let's put it off to the side so I have plenty of room to write my message. And then let me double check. Oh, yep. Need to do a little trimming. I usually, when I add a piece like this to my card, I usually try to cut the designer series paper a little bit longer and then trim it so that it doesn't end up being short. So we have our card base ready. So let's go ahead and put this piece together. So to do that, we'll bring back in our fireworks piece. We have our designer series paper, and then we have our granny apple green foil. So I'm going to start by putting a little adhesive along this edge, or one edge I should say, of the designer series paper. And then I'm going to attach the granny apple green foil to that. And I'm going to attach it so only about 1/4 inch is exposed. Okay. And once I have that, I'll come back and I'll add some more adhesive to the designer series paper and then some adhesive on the foil as well. And then I'm going to line up the edge of my designer series paper with the right edge of my basic white piece. Let me double check and make sure I have that lined up. I don't want to have any white exposed because on this side, because if I do, it's going to show up against that blueberry bushel piece. So it looks like I need to move it over a little bit. Let's see, I'm going to start over here. Let's see. Okay. And yep, looks like I have it. Okay. And then we'll do a little trimming on this one as well. Okay. And once we have that done, we can add this to our blueberry bushel piece. Okay, and then we'll add this whole assembly to the front of our card. All right, once we have that done, next we'll bring in our greeting that we stamped with our blueberry bushel ink and our blueberry bushel cardstock, and we'll attach those two using Stampin' Seal, centering that up. Then we'll use our Stampin' Dimensionals to pop this up on the front of our card. Probably 3 is good. Pull those release papers. And then you can place this wherever you'd like. It looks like I got a little extra ink here somehow on my card, so I'm just going to cover that up with my greeting. All right. And then lastly, let's add a little bling to our firework background. For this, we're using the iridescent adhesive back discs, and these happen to be the blue ones. And you can place these wherever you'd like. And then if we bring our envelope back in, there's our first card. Our second card is a happy birthday to you card. Here are all the pieces for the card, so go ahead and pull them out of your kit. We'll start by doing our stamping, and let's go ahead and stamp our greeting. For our greeting, we'll be using Granny Apple Green, and we'll be stamping that on a basic white circle. For the circle, I've used the 2-inch circle punch to punch that out. And we'll just stamp that in the center of our basic white circle. And we'll set that aside. And I'm going to leave my Granny Apple Green pad open, but I'm also going to open my shaded spruce, because the next thing we're going to do is we're going to stamp our party horn. Now, it's always dangerous to have 2 stamp pads open at the same time, but did you know that they put labels on the back of your stamp pad so you can peel them off and then add it to the end of your pad, so as you have them stacked up, you can see easily which pad is which color. And then there's a second one that's just blank, and you can add that to that little tray on the inside of your stamp pad, so it's easier to tell them apart. So let's start by adding this section of our horn in Granny Apple Green, and I'll stamp that over to the one side. Then we'll add our party horn middle, and I'm just going to tuck that right on the very end there, like so. And then we need the piece where we'll actually blow the horn, and we'll use Granny Apple Green for that as well. And it looks like I could use a little bit darker color on that, so I'm going to go ahead and see if I can stamp right over the top. How'd I do? Well, not too bad. All right, so then we're gonna let that dry for a minute. And if you'd like to add a party horn to your envelope, we can do that. So I'm gonna start by stamping the middle of our party horn just a little towards the bottom of my envelope, because these streamers on my party horn are a little bit bigger than the piece that we use to blow the party horn. So hopefully by the time I get it all done, it'll look like it's somewhat centered on the envelope. Nope, not too bad. Okay, now to add a little decoration to the inside of our card, let's go ahead and add those same streamers along that left edge. So I'm going to bring in the basic white piece, a piece of scratch paper, and I'm just gonna add the very end of those streamers. Okay, and then that's all of our stamping we'll do on with Granny Apple Green ink. So I'm going to close that up, and then I'm going to come back with my Let's Party stamp, and we'll put that right here on this inside piece. Okay, so let's start our assembly. Let's bring in our shaded spruce card base, and we'll fold that over and put a nice crease on that. And then the inside piece we just stamped, let's go ahead and put that on the inside of our card. And we'll use our Stampin' Seal for that. And we'll center that up. Okay. And let's bring in our second piece of basic white. These were the same size, we just stamped one. And now the second one that we didn't stamp, we'll go ahead and add that to the front of our card. And again, we'll just center that right up. Okay, let's put the polka dot layer together. That consists of our Granny Apple Green and then 2 pieces of Designer Series paper. And look at the Christmas lights on the back. The Designer Series paper for these cards were part of the Merry Bold and Bright suite. That was a Christmas suite, but the back side of all the Christmassy paper had some really fun designs. And so that's what we're using for this. Because when I saw this paper, it looked like a party to me. So we decided to bring this back and use it for this class. We used it for our October class, where we actually used the Merry Bold and Bright stamp set and dies. Okay, so again, I cut this just a slightly longer, so I make sure that it didn't end up short. I think it gives your card a nicer look when it's you don't have any short pieces. Okay, now that we have that, let's add this to the front of our card. And we'll center this to the basic white piece. Okay, and then we'll add our greeting that we stamped to our shaded spruce piece. Now this was die cut with a stylish shapes dies. Really, besides the banner Pick-a-Punch, the stylish shapes dies are my other favorite shape set that I use all the time. Okay, and then we'll attach this with some dimensionals. I think 3 will be fine. Feel free to add this wherever you'd like. I kind of liked it a little off center. I thought it was kind of fun that way. Okay, and then our party horn. So now we're going to take our party horn and we're going to trim that out. And we're going to trim it so that it has just a little tiny white edge to the whole thing. This trims out pretty fast because of a lot of straight lines. Okay, that wasn't too bad. Now we're going to attach this like so. Because we pop this up, we want to pop up both of the ends of our party horn, but in the middle we're going to put some seal because that'll rest right on our greeting. So for the one end of our party horn, the bigger one, we're going to use a large Stampin' Dimensional, and for the smaller end we'll use a mini Stampin' Dimensional. Okay. So, whoops, looks like I might need to reposition this. Oh, I guess it's okay. I thought it might have spilled over and might show, but it looks like it's placed okay. And we'll just put this at an angle. Okay, and then lastly, we'll bring in some of our metallic trim. This is actually a parakeet party, but it seemed to work really nicely with these two greens and adds a little splash of bling to our birthday cards. I'm just going to tie a knot. And then with my paper snips, I'm going to trim those ends. And then I'll bring in my glue dots. And we'll just add a glue dot to the back of this. Now the glue dot might be a little big, but that's okay. We'll just take and we'll just wrap the glue dot back around on itself so it's the right size. Okay. And then we'll just attach it right here. And then if we bring back in our envelope, there's our second card. Our third card is the congrats card. Here are all the pieces for the cards, so go ahead and pull them out of your kit. This is our fun fold card, so let me show you how it opens. It goes like this, and then like that. Kind of fun. All right, before we get started stamping, I want to point out that there are 3 sizes of basic white cardstock in the kit. So we have small, medium, and large. The small one is for our party horn. The medium is for the front of our card. And the large one is for the inside of our card. Okay? So we want to make sure, again, that we're stamping the right thing on the right size piece. So because the basic white piece, the large one, is going to have some confetti like our crushed curry piece, I'm going to lay that one by my crushed curry cardstock over here. And then I'm going to stamp our congrats on the medium size piece. And then I'll know that the small one left on my work surface here is for our party horn. So let's bring in our Melon Mambo ink. And we're going to stamp the word congrats towards the upper left-hand corner, leaving some space for our bow. Okay, and then we'll set that aside. And then our smaller piece. So besides the melon mambo, we're going to stamp the body of our party horn in crushed curry. So let me bring that in. And we'll stamp this towards the right side of our cardstock. All right. And I'm going to set this aside for a minute. And then we're going to stamp the mouth piece onto our party horn. Okay, but if you'll notice on our sample here, the party horn is actually in the melon mambo foil, but I stamped the mouthpiece on my basic white piece so that I knew how to cut it out. But then we're going to bring in our little foil piece and we're going to flip it over, and on the back side we're going to stamp the mouthpiece as well. And later we'll cut that out and then we'll add it to our party horn. So that's all the melon mambo stamping we need to do. So I'm going to set this aside, and then I'm going to bring in some scratch paper and the large basic white piece, and I'm just going to stamp a little confetti on that one side, just so there's a little something in there. We'll set that aside. Then I'll actually bring in the crushed curry piece, and we're going to randomly stamp that same confetti all over this piece. Now we're not going to see much of the middle, so you don't have to get too carried away about stamping in the center of the crushed curry piece. But sometimes it's just easier to stamp the whole thing, so you make sure you don't miss a section. Well, I guess I basically stamped the whole piece, didn't I? Too funny. Okay, set that aside. And then if we want to add a little confetti to our envelope, we can do that as well. Okay, there we go. And I believe that's all of our stamping. So let's go ahead and put our card together. Let's bring in our melon mambo piece, and we'll start by making a nice crease on that fold with our bone folder. And then let's add that crushed curry piece that we just stamped. We'll use our Stampin' Seal for this. And we'll just center that up. Okay. And then we have a pretty piece of Designer Series paper to put on the front flap. Now this Designer Series paper is kind of fun, or this piece in the Merry Bold and Bright Designer Series paper is fun, I should say. And a beautiful rainbow stripe on the one side. On the back side is crushed curry with white stars. Now this kind of matches our party horn, because notice our party horn has little stars in it. So you could use either one. I'll make this one with the stars showing so you can see the difference. Okay, then let's bring in our second piece of melon mambo. This is also scored. This is what's creating the fun fold for us. Again, nice crease on that. And let's add that right away. So I'm going to put some adhesive on the one side. And now we want to put this inside our card so that the fold is on the right side. And you can either just center it up, I should say, on your crushed curry piece. But before I put too much pressure on it, I'm going to close this back up like it would be like when you pull it out of your envelope, and just make sure I have the same border on this side as I have on this side. And I think that looks good, so we're good there. Then let's bring our basic white piece, the large one that we stamped with the confetti, for the inside of our card, and we'll add that. Okay, and then our medium size basic white piece, we'll add that to the smaller piece of crushed curry. And we'll add this to the front of that smaller piece of melon mambo. So close it back up, and this goes on the front like this, again centering. All right, let's add our party horn, and we are going to fussy cut this as well. Again, leaving that same little narrow white border around our party horn. And you know, you probably could have just stamped this right on that medium basic white piece with the greeting, but I really like dimension and layers and all that kind of stuff, so I thought we should pop the party horn up and just create a little more dimension for our card. All right, so there's our party horn. And then remember the foil piece that we stamped? We're going to cut that piece out too. And now no border on this. We're going to cut right along all the edges of this image. Okay, and then to attach that, let's add a little liquid glue to our party horn. And it's easier, I think, to add it to the party horn, the complete party horn, than it is to put on that little foil piece. And then we'll just add that like that. Okay. And we'll flip it over, and then to attach this, let's go back to our Stampin' Dimensionals. And just like we did with the last party horn, let's put a large one in the largest part of our horn, and then add a couple smaller ones to the smaller part of our horn. Okay. And then we'll bring in our glue dots and our pre-tied bow. This is a really pretty ribbon. It's the white 1/2 inch iridescent ribbon. I just love it. Okay, we'll put that up in the corner. And then if we bring our envelope back in, here are our fun fold cards. That's the 2 different designer series papers showing, so you can choose which one you think you would prefer. Although if you got a kit, you have enough materials to make 3 cards, so you can make 2 of one and 1 of the other. Thanks for participating in this month's Stampin' Class by Mail, and now here's Gina with a few more things.
Thanks, Brenda. Make sure to check out the links in the video description for a few key things. A link to a specially curated Pinterest board with even more ideas for how to use the class supplies. A link to sign up for one of our email newsletters to access all of our special content, including measurements for the Class by Mail designs, and a sneak peek of next month's card designs. Thanks for participating, and don't forget to click subscribe on this YouTube channel. Until next month, happy stamping!